What a game. What's going on, everybody? Mod on. I hope your hearts are still beating. Everybody, take a baby aspirin, have some chamomile tea, calm it down. We're going to break the whole thing down for you. Let's get it. Welcome back to the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. Spielberg, how you doing?
Spielberg? Where's that from?
Got all these production notes for me in between here. Worried about the filmmaking. We're not talking any football here.
I prefer Scorsese, okay?
All right. I'll take that. How you doing, Pop? How you feeling? I mean,
oh my
God. What a ride.
I mean, if this doesn't describe what it's like to be a Redskins / Commanders fan, I don't know what does. I mean, the emotional roller coaster. I got a funny story to tell about that. I mean, oh my God. I
feel like
I'm wiped out.
You know those pictures that you see of the president, like you see like Obama before his first term and then after 8 years as president? Like, I feel like that's going to be me after this season. Like, I'm going to be gray. Like, that was
just incredible.
Just brutal. Oh my God. I mean, I'm going to just say it. We're kind of lucky Trevor Lawrence sucks. And we played like crap for most of that game, and we got pretty bailed out, I think. That's my first.
Doug Peterson had some questionable calls too, going for that, fourth and goal, and when he went for 2 points.
This time at least he can't John because he left his quarterback in for all 4 quarters. Last time Doug Peterson coached in an NFL game was that Philly game against us, where he took out Jalen Hurts and gave us that win into the playoffs so he could get a better draft pick. Now he's in Jacksonville, and his team sucks, and our team sucked just a little bit less today. So, Pop, give me your takeaways. Get into it.
Yeah, I don't know if I completely agree with you. I mean, I think Jacksonville has improved. I think Trevor Lawrence showed some really good stuff, and Christian Kirk was certainly
they're very
eating us up. So we'll see. We'll see how good they are. Yeah, I mean, obviously couldn't have asked for a better start. I was questioning the deferring of the ball. I'd almost rather start with the ball at this point. I just, that part of that is just not trusting our defense. And so I was a little annoyed that we deferred and feel like Ron's being a little bit of a testadura, which is a hard head in Italian. And that, it just seems like he's got that formula saying, if we win the toss, we're going to defer. The analysts should say we should defer. But if you trust your offense more than your defense, take the ball, get that early drive, get that momentum going. So I didn't like that so much. But, yeah, I mean, apparently we just need to play the first 2 drives and the last 2 drives of the game, and we win. As long as we score in the first 2 drives and the last 2 drives, we'll be all right.
It's an interesting stat. I wonder if you looked that up, if teams that scored their points on the first 2 and the last 2 drives, how often they win the game. I'd bet it's pretty often. But, I mean, Jesus, the football in between those 2 drives was just hideous. It was
really bad. It was really bad.
So we start off the game. You want to go chronological? How do you want to do this? I think we should
go for it. Right?
Take
us through it. Take us through it, son.
We start off the game, and we see our worst fear, basically. And I'll set the scene for you. So believe it or not, I was running a little bit behind on my morning breakfast preparation. So I was running back and forth from the kitchen to the TV.
Well, that's tough. You're 3 hours behind us.
It's a 10 a.m. kickoff here on a Sunday morning. It's a little brutal for me, and I had a whole sauce that I had to get on the stove today. So made that happen. Watched the game. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth from TV to the kitchen as I'm finishing up the breakfast and making my coffee and all that. And my dog takes a dump on the floor, Carlo, and he starts eating it. And so I'm screaming at my girlfriend, come get the dog. She's watching the game. She's screaming.
Do we really need this story?
She's screaming at how bad we're sucking. Well, it paints a picture for how the game started for me, the headspace I was in. My dog's taking a deuce. The defense is taking a deuce. I finally get in front of the TV. We make a stop. We stop them for 3. Then the offense comes down the field and looks electric. We look great.
Yeah.
We're dinking and dunking, which we'll get to. I think is going to be really important for Wentz going forward. I like those quick passes, getting the ball out of his hands quickly. We're spreading the ball out. I don't think any receiver other than Samuel had a ton of targets this game. We were kind of letting everybody get a touch. We saw some good plays from Armani Rogers even. Like the ball got moved around. We go down. We get 7. I'm over the moon, right? I'm like, this is exactly how we needed to start the game. I'm impressed. Make another red zone stop, score another 7 points. I'm loving it. And then we get the ball back. We're doing a 2-minute drill to end the half. And your favorite, Scott Turner, incomplete on first down, runs the ball 2nd and 10 to who? Curtis Samuel. And he runs it between the tackles to Curtis Samuel.
I can't tell you how much I hated that call. The 2nd and 10 runs in general, like 2nd and 10 run is supposed to be something that you don't do routinely. It's something that you do to throw the defense off or catch them off guard. And then you run Samuels in between the tackles. You're asking for trouble. I don't even blame Samuels for that fumble. I don't. He's a receiver. He's a slight guy. That's 100% on Scott Turner. That was a stupid call. And that really hurt us because that was a chance to at least get 3 on the board. I think we would have put 7 up if not for the turnover, but the way we were moving the ball. And it just killed the momentum, that and the way we started the second half. So we're going to have an argument about our kick-outs of the game, but that call really just drove me nuts.
I'm 100% with you. That call is just insane to me. So stupid. Like, just like you said, it drives me nuts. It's just like, if you want to run the ball, if you're thinking we have 2 minutes left, and we're getting the ball back. So we don't want to let Jacksonville touch the ball again. So we're going to run. We're going to take some clock off. I'm cool with that. And we're going to try and play it safe. We're up by some points. I don't love that, but it at least checks out. We're going to run the ball. Okay, cool. Gibson has been great. Spoiler alert. Gibson was great today.
Gibson played a heck of a game. And the way he was involved in the receiving receiving part of the game was – I was a little worried, kind of thinking he hasn't really been involved in receiving the ball the last 2 years. They've pretty much used him as a traditional between the tackles runner. So I'm like, can he really do it? I mean, I know he was a receiver in college. There was a difference between being a receiver in college and being a receiver out of the backfield as a running back. But he looked great. He looked very comfortable. That was very exciting, especially when we get B-Rob back. Part of me thinking, especially in that first half, there's only one football. Didn't see much of Terry early on, but it was just because all these other people, and great to see Curtis Samuel performing. I mean, those moves he was putting on and those.
I've already said the word. He's electric. He is a dynamic talent when the ball is in his hands. Made some great catches, took some big hits, got up, kept rolling, looked tough. But to finish my point, just give the ball to Gibson or give it to McKissick on a draw. But I think that's where some of Gibson's fumbling concerns come in because I think they're not giving the ball to Gibson.
Yeah, you could tell it didn't feel like they trusted him.
Yeah. No, which is where, unfortunately we don't have Brian Robinson at the moment. That's where he would come into play. So theoretically, all these problems should be resolved. But again, you got to coach to your personnel. It's a little bit of showing that same stubbornness with the systems and just kind of insisting on doing things your way and calling the play sheet rather than calling the game.
I mean, I'm going to say it. If we never run on 2nd and 10 again, ever, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make the decision to pass the ball on first down and you don't execute, that's on you. You instead of calling a run, you called a pass on first down. You didn't execute. Don't call a run, especially a between the tackles run on 2nd down. It's a minute 30 or whatever it was on the clock. I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want to be too negative. We got a victory. I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
but I have to say the emotions of this game, because I couldn't have been more upset with the team at 22-14. And as I'm sure most Commanders fans, and I have to admit, I had zero hope of us coming back at that point especially after those two horrendous. And then just, part of it is you're thinking towards, um, oh my God, everyone's going to just be justified on their Wentz takes, right? Like, how could they not be after those two interceptions, right? I mean,
exactly. So
it was awful.
Let's get into the
second half.
Now,
Break down the second half, yeah.
Which is where the drama starts, right? So after that fumble by Samuel, and then Jacksonville drives all the way down the field and doesn't score. They miss the field goal, they doink it, but they had some momentum, and Lawrence kind of starts dicing, right? And I'm thinking going into the second half, I'm like, okay, we start with the ball. You're still
up, what, 14-3?
It's 14-3. Right? I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm thinking let's
I was feeling pretty confident at that point.
Let's come out and put our foot on their necks, but there's the little trauma of being a DC sports fan in the back of my head is kind of whispering at me and going, yeah, but this is how games fall apart. These are not good situations. And sure enough, we came out flat in the second half, which is unacceptable. We looked completely outcoached and out-adjusted, and went through two terrible, both of them terrible interceptions. And now all of a sudden you're coming out of this fever dream and it's 22-14. And you're like, what the hell happened?
And I mean, he not only threw those two interceptions, and I talked to your Uncle Nick right after the game, as you usually give me a call, which I love.
Of course.
And we saw good Carson Wentz, and we saw the really extreme bad. And I mean, him missing completely wide open receivers. I mean, Dotson on the opening drive, Dax Milne in the second half, that was just standing there with like nobody within 30 yards. Like, how can you be a professional quarterback and miss those throws when a player is that wide open? So it's maddening, and it's probably what we're going to go through this season. But it's one game. If they got to work the kinks out, work them out now.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think these are kinks. I think this is what the next 16 games are going to look like from Carson Wentz. I think
I'm hoping
we could get lucky in that maybe all the interceptions will condense into one game, and all the good throws will condense into one game, and we'll have one bad day and one good day. But this is going to be pretty. This is going to be pretty rough, I think, from Wentz. I mean, I think he is exactly as advertised, in my opinion. It's exactly what they told us. He's going to make some throws that you're like, how the hell did he do that? And he's going to make some interceptions that you're like, why the hell did he throw that? And for all the talk of only throwing 7 picks last year, he's on pace to smoke that.
Yeah.
He's on pace to smoke that. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we get the ball back after they score. It's 22-14. Bomb to Terry McLaurin. He comes alive. Touchdown. Unbelievable play. I'm freaking out. I'm just jumping up, cussing, screaming at the top of my lungs.
So you want to hear about my reaction?
So excited. I heard you had a similar reaction, but in a different direction. So go ahead. Let people know.
So I was really trying to stay calm and not be emotional. And, the game's falling apart, right? I mean, momentum completely shifts. We can't stop the Jaguars. We keep turning the ball over. 3 turnovers. We shouldn't have won the game, with 3 turnovers, and 3 bad turnovers. I mean, you give them, you're about to score at the end of the second half. You don't. First half, sorry, you don't. You basically gift them a touchdown. Your defense just on the field. You make them come right back, get on the field. People be like, defense should have a stop. No, you shouldn't give them the ball in that territory with a chance to score like that. You just can't expect your defense to come off the field when they were just on the field for a drive and be fresh enough to make a stop. So when we hit that pass to Terry, which was a great ball and a great call by Scott Turner, everything great about it, obviously a great route by Terry, I was angry. I just let out anger because, and too bad my wife didn't get it on film, but I think I scared her a little bit. But I was just like, it just made me so mad that we put ourselves in a position of course, we score a touchdown there. Of course,
Yeah.
we're going to try to come back. And I was pretty convinced that, somehow, some way, we were still going to find a way to lose that game. But it was great.
Yeah.
And it was great that it was also followed up by the next play I'm sure you're going to talk about. So
Yeah. So then the next play, go back down the field.
we stopped
Good.
them, which is good,
Stop them. Great defensive stop. Defensive line, spoiler alert, I thought looked very good overall today. And they definitely were disrupting Lawrence. Casey Toohill, he brought his lunch bag and he went to work today. I was very impressed by
Ron
him as
Payne
the second
was,
rotation guy.
seemed to be a force in there as well.
Payne wants to get paid. We know how he's going to play this year.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope it's by us, but he's going to get paid next year if he keeps that up. Anyways, though, you get down 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. It's a short third down, and you're going, Christ, okay, we have to get this. We're in the red zone. We're down 2 points. It's probably about minute and 40 seconds ish on the clock. Should have wrote it down, didn't. And all of a sudden, I see the ball going deep, and I'm going, what the hell is happening? And it's like everything went in complete slow-mo for me. And then who's there? Mr. Catch Radius, the guy who sleeps with the football every night, carries it with him everywhere he goes. Jahan frickin' Dotson, with what I think is going to be the number 1 play on the SportsCenter top 10 this week. What a catch.
Well, that was a 13-play, 90-yard drive. 13 plays, 90 yards. I mean, that's amazing.
Got down the field.
That's unreal.
Slowed the game down, took our time, Wentz took what was given to him, and it was beautiful. That's how our offense has to function. And if you watch how the Bills played on Thursday, that's what they were doing most of the game. They were killing them with the short passes and just through Josh Allen's brilliant decision-making. And I'm not expecting Wentz to be Josh Allen, but come on. If you got a guy open for 5 yards, take it. And with these weapons, we're going to have that. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Incredible catch. Great throw. He put it where only Dotson could get it. Dotson grabbed it. I mean, obviously, Wentz could have been more accurate, but there is a touchdown. So I don't care. We scored.
It was good.
It was just
I had no
incredible
complaints about
catch.
that. And then apparently it was
Incredible
Ron was talking about it after game. It was a bit of an option play. We were talking about what was the thinking behind, going for it versus being conservative. But I mean, the thing is, if you're conservative in that moment, when you kick a field goal, they could stop the clock. So they can stop the clock. They had 2 timeouts left. I didn't feel good at all. If all Jacksonville needed was a field goal to come down and win that game, it's a totally different mindset than needing to come down and get 7, right? Or 6. So, and then, converting the 2-point conversion was great as well. Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, high highs and low.
Oh my gosh! Like I said, it was a perfect description of being a Commanders fan. It super inconsistent overall. Yeah. You got to feel good about 4 touchdown passes from Wentz, but
definitely,
I'll be honest. I think walking out of the game, you probably would just look at it and say, yardage, touchdown passes, everything. You'd say, okay, well, you should feel more good than bad about it. But we should have never put ourselves in that position. But having said that, it's great to start out with a win. It definitely really is. I feel like I don't want to be overly negative. I mean, it was clear we are who we thought we were. Defense, not great. I think, definitely concerns remain in the secondary. Too many penalties. Too many. I mean, first 3 plays were penalties. 2 on us, 1 on them. 2 out of the secondary. I was like, oh my God. And then, offensively, I think we've got weapons. I mean, loads of weapons. You can't have a much better rookie debut than 2 touchdowns, right? And you saw like the best out of everybody. Logan Thomas looked a little
looked a little hobbled
He
still.
did,
But it
yeah.
was great. It was great to see him out there. He's a big target. He's got great hands. He's secure with the football. I have nothing but good things to say about him. So excited he's out there. Hopefully we get Cole Turner back soon, and we can kind of divide that workload up a little bit so that he can get back to full health. But we did see a couple good plays from Armani Rogers as well. So tight end is sneakily probably the deepest position on the football.
We're going to have to talk about the Sauce Award, son. We're going to get into it in a minute. But Antonio Gibson had 100, let me do this math right, 130 total yards.
Jesus. Yeah.
58 running, 72 catching on 7 receptions. What a ball game.
So,
what a ball game.
I say we get right in our awards, but before, I do have one thing that I want to say about Wentz. Is that you made a great point about if you zoom out and look at the numbers, which is what we were doing during the offseason as Commanders fans, trying to hype ourselves up. We were like 3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That's a great season. If we could just have that, we're going to win. Like, we're going to win a lot. We're going to be so good. You saw I predicted the team to be 11-6 very stupidly. And then when you watch this game, this is the perfect example of how that stuff doesn't matter, and it's basically the counterpoint is if you look at the numbers, 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. We
haven't had a quarterback put up numbers like that in terms of the positive side.
That's incredible
for a really long time. Yeah,
that is incredible. That's more pass yards than Josh Allen and 1 more touchdown. That's incredible, but you look at the interceptions that he threw and when he threw them and how and why he threw them, and he put this team in position to lose more often than he put the team in position to win. And that's the problem that I have there. So, gonna be a hell of a year. But let's get into the awards here. Let's start off Sauce Award, and then I guess
we're gonna argue about this one a little bit.
Based on our debate, that will kind of inform the helmet stickers, I'm sure.
Right.
So my Sauce Award, my initial candidate, popping through a couple names around, and I said it's got to be Derek Forrest. Stepping in as the backup to cover for Cam Curl being out, and just absolutely just a force. He had a couple huge tackles for that stop at the end of the first half. And then, of course, he comes down with that interception that was just beautiful catch. A horrible throw by Lawrence, but that was the perfect example of what
pressure
happen.
Caused that.
That's what I was just about to say. It was the perfect example of what can happen when you get home and when this defensive front and when Jack Del Rio is showing a little bit of cojones and actually sending some heat in critical situations, which props to him. I think he did today, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I like how aggressive
I want to see more of it.
He was. Yeah.
I want to see more of it.
I called that. I told you I thought they were going to come out and learn from last year and be aggressive.
You did. Yeah. And I hope you're right, because let me tell you something. Our intermediate level sucks. It's got to be the worst in football. Our linebacker situation is horrible. So if we are not getting home, our secondary is not going to have chances to make plays, and we're going to get dinked and dunked on. So we need.
I got to go Antonio Gibson just from where he came from. Is the starter. Yeah. 7 receptions in the pass game. You would have never bet on that.
Yeah,
he made some good runs. I don't know how. I love Derek Forrest. I'm going to let you make the final call, son, but I'm going to put in a really strong vote. Sauce Award. And I know you made a killer sauce this morning. I'm sure you can't wait to get this over with so you can get into that. But I know you cook your sauce for what, like 8 hours or something like that?
Yeah, mine goes.
This boy takes it serious.
I get mine is on the stove by no later than 10, 11 a.m. and I don't eat until 6.
Oh man, I wish I could pop over.
Oftentimes I actually have to add water to my sauce because it sits and it cooks down for so long.
But we digress. We digress. My strong arguments for Antonio Gibson. I'm gonna give it to you. That's a ball game.
I'm gonna give it to you because especially I think with the Forrest brought what we know he has. And with the amount of questions and controversy,
there was more moments though, right? Like, the performance of the defense as a whole and the secondary as a whole wasn't there. He had great moments. He stepped up. It's like you said, that interception. It was nice though. A little tippy tippy toes on the
Beautiful.
sideline.
Well, I was
He
like,
showed
I
skill
was
there.
I was sitting watching it with my girlfriend, and she was freaking out. She was like, "We won! It's over! It's over! It's over!" And I'm like, "I'm not so sure. Like, I need to see the feet. I need to see the feet. I need to see that there's no flags." And then I saw the feet, and I was like, "Oh my god, what a catch!"
I
Like,
like
blown
the
away.
we. I like the
But
we. So first
yeah,
helmet sticker, easy.
yeah, Derek Force.
Derek Forrest. The
Um,
Sauce Award to Gibson, just to be clear. Helmet sticker, Derek Forrest.
yeah.
Who else we got?
Um, Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson, in my opinion, for the other two.
Agree.
I
Agree.
know we had discussed. I'm going to give you the sauce award on Gibson. I think he stepped in to a role and provided. He was basically the steady hand for the offense. When any time we needed 4, 5, 6 yards, Gibson was there, and he had a couple really big plays. I mean, there was that one third down throw that Wentz made where he zinged it outside the numbers on a short pass um, to Gibson, and Gibson caught it and got up the sideline for 10, 15 yards. And it was those are the moments where you're like, okay, we have something here. And I think Curtis Samuel, wow. I mean, I was calling him Diet Debo. The guy was just doing everything. It was just incredible to see him
Early on,
back,
especially.
healthy. I don't know why we stopped going to him in the second half. I don't know if he's on a pitch count or maybe he was tired, but it seems like we were just force feeding him the ball in the first half, and we were hooping. Just keep it going. Keep
Yeah.
it going.
Well, it was actually like on the positive with Wentz, which I guess you'd say 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards. There is a lot of positive, there.
Yeah.
And I think, but I did like the fact that he was, they say he doesn't like to use the check down or the shorter passes, but he was doing a lot of that this game and letting the yards after catch, the yak happen.
Yeah.
And I asked Samuel, like, faked the heck out of a couple of guys. I mean, those
Hey,
moves were amazing. And the awareness of knowing that, hey, I got to get that first down, not just to catch the ball, go straight up field, but to make that cut and get the yardage necessary for the first down. Terry had some, 1 or 2 moments with those yards after catches as well. I guess it would just be 1 because he only had 2 catches for the game. But I'm guessing they took Terry out of the game, which is what, if they're going to do that, for the other weapons to step up and perform like they did is great. So,
well, I mean,
no argument on the Samuel getting a helmet sticker without a doubt.
Definitely. That's what we paid Samuel to do at the end of the day, right? Because we brought Samuel in going into year 2. We brought him in as a 1A, actually, and Terry was going to be the 1B, but then Samuel was hurt and Terry had the breakout year. And so now Samuel's coming back as the 1B, maybe even the 3 because of having Dotson. So yeah, there is going to be matchup problems for the defense. The problem is,
no doubt.
I worry about the defense just being able to sit back in zone and wait for Wentz to Wentz a few times. We'll get into that in our next game's preview.
I mean, I'm gonna withhold judgment to say, he didn't have a ton of interceptions last year. Hopefully, if it's got to happen, have it happen in a situation like this where you can really learn from it. And the fact that he did come back and lead those 2 drives and not let his confidence be totally shook, which I'm sure the one bomb to Terry really, really helped. But I'm still going to try to hold out hope. But I was at 22-14. I was definitely hearing the drum beat for Sam Howell start to grow.
I texted my HTTC group chat and I was like, "Yo, we need to get Sammy in there." I was like, "I can't take this." I was like, "This is killing
too
me."
soon. And
I knew you were too hot. If I sent you that text, you would have flipped. But I was so like,
I was not happy with Commander Carson at that.
Of course not. We're joking.
Moment.
We're joking. But speaking of being not happy with Commander Carson, how about we segue? Let's get into our kickoffs of the game.
So we kind of rushed through, like Jahan Dotson. We said it earlier, but we don't need to spend a lot of time. But 2 touchdowns, 2 great catches for touchdowns. Yep. Rookie debut. How good do we feel about picking him with our first round pick after that game? So he definitely deserves that second helmet sticker. But yeah, let's get into the kickoffs.
Yeah,
So we're going to argue
definitely.
about this one. I know in our pregame preparation. Why don't you give yours? I'll give mine, and then we'll arm
Yeah.
wrestle it.
So
I think you're going to win this one. Spoiler alert.
My kickouts of the game. Thank you. My kickouts of the game goes to Carson Wentz and his interception to
Yeah,
Trayvon
those
Walker.
2 picks.
The first one, it happens. You know,
Right.
he stares
You
the
can
guy
kinda live
down.
with it.
You can kind of live with it. It was pretty ugly, to be honest with you, but you see that happen from time to time. You stare the guy down, you get caught on your read, you get caught slipping a little bit when you have a big lead. That's fine. I'm not happy with it, but you can live with it, like you said. The second one, man. Oh my God. How do you not see? I mean, that's like a Madden interception. That's like he
I
called the
assume it's the
screen.
play that was called. It looked like some sort of inside screen. Was it to McKissick? I don't know. I blacked out. I don't even know he was throwing the ball to.
It was a pretty basic halfback screen to Gibson, and it was just totally
Was it to Gibson?
blown up.
Okay.
To Gibson. And Jacksonville was all over it. And so it was like, it really reminded me of in Madden, when you call that play, usually the running back is triangle, and you see the blitz, and you see it's kind of blown up, and you just start mashing the triangle button because you're like, please God, and then of course it's an interception. And Trayvon Walker, being the phenomenal athlete that he is, number 1 overall pick last year, snags the ball, takes it for a return, and then James Robinson touchdown on the next play. Kickout said it wasn't Travis Etienne.
So for the sake of time, I'm going to give it to you. I think you're right. You know, in general, at the end of the day, my honorable mention has to go to that 2nd and 10 call at the end of the first half.
Yeah,
I put that turnover 100% on Scott Turner. I mean, please, for the love of God, stop calling 2nd and 10 runs. Stop it. You want to run the ball on a series, run it on first down. Run it on first down. If you're deciding you're going to pass on first down, if it's 2nd and short, you want to run, peace. But you don't execute on the pass. Please stop calling that an inside run to Curtis Samuel, who's not a running back. It's a nice change of pace every once in a while. He certainly looked effective doing it. Just stop it. Please stop it. So that's my honorable mention for kickouts. But we'll, for the sake of time, we'll go with you. We'll go with yours. So.
Yeah, I think if we
and you're right, and you're right, by the way.
If we had a helmet sticker version of kickouts, I think that would be definitely.
Oh my God, that's a bad visual, son.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. Oh man!
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
We keep going here, but I got a quick turnaround to edit this thing. I don't want to have to do too many bleeps. So no, YouTube. This video is not made for kids. Anyways, gotta check that box when I upload it. But yeah, so I mean, I guess closing thoughts, takeaways. Let's hit the bottom bets real quick. Both of them kind of sucked. I've realized after I made mine, which was -6.5 Cincinnati over Pittsburgh, I was sitting in bed this morning and I was thinking, did I just give Mike Tomlin 6.5 points in an opening game? And I know Pittsburgh generally loses the spread in their first game, but I'm sitting there thinking, like, hold on, Burrow's coming back from appendicitis, and I just gave Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in NFL currently, and you could argue NFL history. I just gave him 6.5 points.
So sadly, I don't think Dave Portnoy is going to call, son, because that was a horrendous performance by you and me. I had the Pats.
After I made that pick.
I got Belichicked. He sent the team down there on Tuesday like it was the Super Bowl down to Miami, and they more or less got spanked 20-7. Horrible start to our betting. I hope nobody placed a bet based on our recommendations. We are amateurs at this. Obviously, maybe we'll get rolling. I should have stuck with my Bills pick. That was my initial gut, but that's it.
I have a silver lining.
Pats are dead to me for the 2022 season. I'm not picking them again.
Wow, fair enough. You need to start. I have a note on my phone, which was inspired by a friend of mine. If you're listening, you know who you are. I have a note on my phone that's all the players that have burnt me, so that when I'm putting a parlay together, if I have a line that I'm not sure about, I check that note, and I'm like, okay, stay off this guy. So maybe
I went 2 is not very good. 0
Well,
2 is not
I
very
have a
good.
little consolation. It was not announced on the pod, but the boy did bring home a little bit of escarole this week on a little parlay on Thursday.
A little bit of
Had
pasta
a
visual.
little bit of pasta fagioli. I had a 5-way parlay. 4 of them hit, 1 pushed. The Stafford rush yards push. So I made a little 10x return there. Not bad. I was pretty happy about that. So I actually abstained from betting on money today because I knew I was just going to watch the Commanders game and then we were going to be recording during the 4 o'clock slate. But yeah,
The official
bottom
bottom
bets was
bets is
rough.
pretty rough.
The
We
official
got to
bottom
pick up
bets
our
was rough.
game. We'll
Yeah.
come back at it on Thursday's pod. But
Yes.
I mean,
we'll
I
be back at
think
it.
the only other thing, real quick, going around the NFL, Eagles Lions. It's just sticking in the NFC East.
Yep.
It looked like the Lions made a run at the end there. I mean, I was so into the Commanders game at 38-35, but Eagles do get the win. We'll see next week. That's our next
Yep.
opponent, the Lions, putting up 35 points. It's pretty crazy. I guess closer to home, Ravens. I mean, ho hum. How nice is it to be a Ravens fan? You just take care of business.
Yeah.
You play
Well,
a
Ravens
team.
didn't.
It was
They ended
close.
up close, but they
It was close at the
definitely.
beginning, but
Yeah.
they didn't
They
have to sweat
really.
the ending.
They kind of flipped it. They came out a little flat, and they did it Commanders. They came out a little flat, and then they finished.
I think they were in control of the game. And obviously, we're recording this just after the pod, so there's things that are going to change. But Giants are down to the Titans 13-0. Love to see that. I got to see what that's. Hopefully, Derrick Henry is doing great. Vikings are 10-0 over the Packers, so that's interesting. So I won't go through the whole scoreboard, but let's talk fantasy real quick. How's your fantasy team doing?
So I'm actually just checking on
mine.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm in 3 leagues. I'm winning in 2 of them pretty handsomely. And the third league, which is our family league, I'm projected to win still by a lot. I have Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs in that league. I went 0 RB. So I'm looking pretty good. I mean, I'm losing right now 60-78, but my opponent has played all of his players except for 2, and I've still got Russell Wilson, Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Evans left. So I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, Justin Jefferson has 21.5 points at the half, 5 receptions, 122 yards, and a ton. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. What about you, Pop? I think I might have a perfect week this week.
I mean, the only league that matters is the family league. I am projected to lose. This morning I was just sort of sticking by my draft, right? The starters who I picked in the order that I picked.
Yeah.
That was my starting lineup this week. I had a pretty good team. Lamar kind of had a slow start. Got Derrick Henry still in process. Nick Chubb had a really good game. Tyreek Hill had a good game, solid. Hockenson, I didn't expect to get too much of at a tight end. I guess the week 1 was Amari Cooper, who that's the one that kills me because I was staring at Cordell Patterson on my bench. And I'm thinking, put Cordell in. Be bold. Put him in. I know that they're not predicting him, and I should have swapped out Cordell for Cooper. But I still think it's kind of anybody's ball game at this point. Even though it says I've got it's actually got, I have a 61% probability of winning. I was reading it backwards, so I don't want to jinx it, but doing all right. So yeah, might be a win. I'm only really in the 1 league. I kind of do some FanDuel stuff, and I'm in I accidentally perfect pop move got into some random second league on ESPN, and I am winning that game. And it actually auto drafted my team, which is a pretty strong team. So maybe next time we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, could be. I was really thinking that I was going 0 for 2 today with the Commanders when they were down and fantasy, but it might have flipped. So happy pop.
Justin Jefferson just brought in live as we're recording this. He just brought in his 2nd touchdown of the first half.
He's on my other team, my other rando team.
He has 31 points with 6 receptions, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
What a baller. And he didn't make my top 10 receiver.
In the first half.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk.
Who needs running backs when your receivers play like that? But,
true.
I was the 10th ranked team by ESPN going into this week, so probably going to blow it. But anyways, I mean, I think we, I don't know how much more there is to talk about this one. We could probably talk for 3 hours, but
So
I
don't
say we
forget
wrap this thing up.
to wrap it up the right way. Okay.
Yeah,
I
Pop
was
was
a little
really tight about
disappointed
that.
to you last time.
But
I know I rushed you, but
do you want to give a very quick feel on Detroit next week, or you want to just save that?
no,
For the
let's
weekend?
save that. I'll say this
Make
just
the
for
people come back for us.
bit of a heartfelt moment. Obviously, 9/11 means a lot, to a lot of people. So definitely, hearts and thoughts to anyone that's impacted by that. But 9/11 is also a real special day for the Tenaya family because it's Dominic's grandpop, my dad's birthday, my pop's birthday, the original pop. And
my namesake.
yeah, Dominic was named after
Dominic.
my dad, Big Dominic, and great guy. And he's been gone. It's hard to believe, almost 11 years now. He would have been 92 today. But I woke up this morning, one of those moments, right? Two moments, two surreal moments today. One, I slept in a little bit. We got to bed pretty late. We're helping my stepdaughter and her fiance, our Ravens insider, aka move yesterday. So slept in kind of late, got to bed kind of late. I flip over and I look at the clock, and what is it reading? 9/11, which is my pop's birthday, and obviously the date today. So that was pretty wild. And then I have to admit, I think it was after I don't know what part of the game it was, but when I looked at the clock and it said 3:33, I said, all right, which was my parents' old address. I said, we're going to be all right. So anyway, just a quick shout out to Dominic's grandpa, my dad, for his birthday today. And thanks for, bringing home that win, Pop.
Hey, when he called it again, he used to say before Commanders games, Redskins at the time, you ask him, he said, hey, how do you think it's going to go? And his catchphrase, he said, we're going to suffer. And
I think there's three guaranteed things in life: death, taxes, and if you watch the Commanders, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
But
so
if we get a W, it's all worth it.
Hey, until next week, guys, we'll be back at you breaking down more suffering. We'll see you Thursday morning. And until then, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
And thank you and have a great week.